Welcome to another top 5 with Kris 05, guys. Today we're gonna be talking about all of the best decks in Hearthstone right now you could be using for easy legends. I'm gonna show you 5 of the best decks, talk about their mulligans, win rates, and general tips so you guys know what you could be doing with, as well as what you could be expecting out of decks like that. And I'm also gonna show you all of the other working archetypes for each individual class, so stick around to the end. If you find what I'm doing helpful, a like and subscribe would be awesome, and don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, where I do my best to give you guys the best decks live over at Twitch. But now, let's get into it. Before we get into the best decks, I'd like to remind you, you can support the channel for free by checking out my new Raid Shadow Legends YouTube channel, and also trying the game for free with an amazing huge start by downloading the game from my premium download link, and that is gonna give you 4 amazing champions as soon as you start, and you're also gonna have 48 hours to use the promo code section to get yourself an extra amazing legendary champion. Not only that, Raid right now has this huge collaboration event with Assassin's Creed, and they're giving away Ezio completely for free just by logging in the game for 7 days, and he is a top tier champion, guys. You're not only gonna get him, but also his 5-star blessing, which is gonna make him into an absolute beast. I have been enjoying Raid for over 3 years now, and I really gotta tell you, the game is much deeper than you might have thought. Like, the graphics are insane, the champions are super amazing, and the gameplay really is next level, guys. You cannot believe how deep some of the strategies can go. The way you could be building your champions is super complex, and yeah, sky's the limit. How hard you want to be going into a game like this. You could be playing it casually, you could be playing it hardcore, the choice is yours. So yeah, if you want to support the channel for free, download the game from my premium download link and start the game the right way. But now, let's get into the best decks.
You are not prepared!
So, the first deck on the list is obviously still gonna be a Demon Hunter, and Broxigar Demon Hunter right now with the blob package really is cracked. This deck is maybe the easiest thing you could be using for easy legend right now, and the stats really back that claim up. It barely has any somewhat bad matchups, it feels super overpowered, and it's really not that expensive either, so definitely a great choice if legend is what you want to get. This particular version is a little bit different from what we're used to seeing. It actually looks quite a lot like the Ravenous Cliff Dive Demon Hunter, but it is indeed more Broxigar oriented, even though we don't even have ourselves any Brewmasters. We do have Elise in here, however, and for that to work you also have things like Eladari Inquisitor, the Ziliax, the Climbing Hook, and the Remnants of Rage. As long as you get your blob on curve, the game is already halfway won, and if you get the Ravenous Fell Hunter on curve, well, the game is basically won at that point, because not very many decks can really handle that much blob of tar bullshit, and this deck really maximizes on that. You have a good amount of card draw, you have Broxigar at the end for a potential extra bit of damage, you have Elise you could be using for all sorts of different things, including the 5 mana. The locations you can get yourself a 5/5 copy of, let's say, the Eladari Inquisitor, or of the Patches Charge Pirates, give them +2 attack, that kind of stuff, and that usually is huge. I will be giving you an updated detailed guide about this deck really soon, so be on the lookout for that, but for now, let's check out what the matchups are looking like, and right now, things like Discover Hunter are actually somewhat countering it, and also the new Arcane Arcwing Mage is also pretty good. Same with Big Spell Mage, they're both kinda the same deal. The whole point is to get yourself a good amount of Arcwings. Everything else is hella good for this deck, so no wonder it's the best option for easy legend right now. When it comes down to the mulligan, you're gonna try to curve off as efficiently as you can to get yourself some card draw, some Tusk Piercer, the Grim Harvest, the Portal is fine, Blob is great, Infestation can be pretty good as well, Axe of Cenarius might make sense, at least the Navigator, especially if you're curving into it, and honestly, if you have yourself Tusk Piercer already, you could also hold on to the Ravenous Fell Hunter. On the coin, the situation is pretty much the same. For other good Demon Hunter decks, this is the one I'm showing you. 5,000 games, 61% plus win rate, kinda insane, not gonna lie, but as you guys are well aware, we have tons and tons of different iterations of Demon Hunter right now. This is for the last 3 days alone. If I move it to the last 7, we're gonna see even more different iterations, but yeah, right now, there's so many different top-tier Demon Hunter variations, all of which are usually revolving around Blob and Ravenous. We're gonna have to scroll quite a lot to see something other than Blob and Ravenous getting involved, but here is an aggro Demon Hunter apparently, which, no, this is Big Demon Hunter. What are you doing, HS Replay? I think it's just gonna be easier if I just click through these. Broxigar Demon Hunters are definitely top tier. You could also go for the Ravenous Demon Hunter variation with the cliff dives and such. Aggro Demon Hunter is this thing here. These two are more like Big Demon Hunters, not aggro. That can be a pretty good deck for you. Quest Demon Hunter apparently is playable, but not really. It's under 50%. Spell Demon Hunter is also decently good, and we literally also have several other iterations of Demon Hunters out there. You could check out my Crewmate Demon Hunter variant, which tweaks cooked up. There's the Death Rattle Demon Hunter that also works, and so on and so forth. But now, let's check out the second deck. Next up, we still have Aura Pally as a very good contender, and this deck is pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and hella strong. This is the pure Aura Pally list. We don't have any of the cube nonsense, none of the Librams, so yeah, it's just straightforward Aura stuff, and again, I do have a detailed video about, I'm pretty sure, this exact deck from not too long ago, so you might want to give that a check. But the name of the game with this one is you want to get yourself some ramp nice and quick with Acceleration Aura, you want to extend it preferably with a couple of cardboard golems, and you could literally be doing, as soon as turn 5, freaking Gelbin of Tomorrow with 5 extended auras that not many decks can handle right now. You do have a decent amount of aggression as well with things like Crusader Aura, but you're not really super wide on the board with a deck like this. But with Crusader Aura, you can definitely benefit a lot through 5 mana rushers out of Elise, as well as Tigris Plushie rushes, that kind of stuff. Thor of the Unbreaking is also pretty cool in this deck because it is going to buy you a lot of extra time, and sometimes that's all you really need in order to actually curve into Gelbin. You have Anachronos for extra time for you, as well as Ziliax at the end with Twin Plus Perfect module, and it's pretty good because you get to fish out both Ziliax and Gelbin just with a single Urson Maul, which could be huge for you. Matchup wise, we don't have too much stats here, but anything we do have is going to be positive. Blob Demon Hunter is not a very amazing matchup for you, however. As for the mulligan, here's what it looks like. You are going to try to find yourself the Violet Treasure Guild, the Righteous Protector, the Cardboard Golem. Acceleration Aura straight out would be a good keep as well if you don't have the Violet. At least the Navigator is great. Urson Maul if you're curving into it, but usually that's about it. When going second, it's the same deal, but depending on the matchup, you might also consider the Manifest Time Waste or a Tigris Plushie, or heck, even a Demolition Renovator, but try to be curving into those. For other good Paladin decks, we have several different iterations, like we have several Aura Pallies. Lionessa Pally is also playable right now, but apparently it's far from top tier. Libram Pallies are also pretty interesting right now, but they are basically a mix with Aura Pallies as well. Quest Paladin is also out there, but it's definitely not amazing. And Aggro Pally is definitely one of the cheapest decent decks you could be hitting Easy Legend with. Here it is, 56% win rate, 700 plus games, definitely pretty worth it without any legendaries in there. There's also whatever the hell this is, Egg Pally with some Starship nonsense. I have no idea what the hell this thing is, but apparently it's kinda decent. On the third spot, of course, we're also gonna have Corpse Death Knight, and this again is abusing both Blob of Tar as well as Elise, cause those cards are just that broken right now. This is the version with the Assimilating Blight, and this does seem to be the best variation of the deck nowadays, with Assimilating Blight, with Remnant of Rage, that kind of stuff. But we also can see some interesting inclusions, like the Stitch Giants are coming back, the Neralax, the Sarah plus Ferak package is also in here, and we of course have the Shadows of Yesterday, which have proven to be quite the staple card. Again, I have a detailed video about this, so give it a check if you want to know how to pilot this deck properly. When it comes down to matchups, Broxigar is slightly negative, but nothing to write home about. Libram Pally is slightly negative, but honestly, it's nothing but green, guys. So again, a top tier deck for easy results, but it's definitely pretty expensive, this one. When you're on the coin, you're gonna try to curve off with your good 4 mana or less cards. You don't have that many of them, so anything under 4 mana you're gonna be very happy to see, and some of the 4 mana cards are also gonna be pretty good if you're curving into them, so hold on to those. But yeah, Creature of Madness, Morbid Swarm, Dreadhound Handler, Assimilating Blight, and obviously Elise would be top tier for you. Felric, also not the worst thing in the world, and curving into one of the other 4 drops could be good. Depending on the matchup, Demolition Renovator might also make sense. On the coin, the situation is the same, but here you might also consider holding on to Exarch Maladar, especially if you have a good corpsey hand. For other good Death Knight decks, this is the one I'm showing you for the 800 games, 59% win rate, definitely pretty top tier. But we also have BBU Control Death Knight still doing okay, but definitely not as top tier as it used to be. For Corpse Death Knight, we have so many different iterations of this thing, and all of them are working pretty well for the most part. Control Death Knight is actually triple blood. That's kind of interesting. Looks kind of weird list though, like we are seeing quite a few not so popular inclusions in this one. Death Rattle Death Knight is still actually out there. Handbuff Death Knight is also not looking so amazing apparently. Honestly, I did have very good results with this thing, and I do believe the deck is much better than these stats show, but maybe I'm a little bit biased, I don't know. You be the judge. For a free-to-play deck, that is definitely a pretty nice way to be hitting legend for me, at least. And we also have Stegadon Death Knight, which has been seeing a rise in power lately, but not that big sample size. Spot number 4 goes for Dragon Warrior, and we did use this version of Dragon Warrior for Easy Legend on the last coaching session, and I gotta say, this deck really can't lose much. This is a pretty streamlined, aggressive version of Dragon Warrior. It does not run Elise, but it still actually runs quite a few digits, a few of which kind of look weird, like for instance the Tormented Dreadwing is something I haven't seen many decks include, but in some cases this thing definitely is gonna get you a little bit of extra gas. We also have Nomelia in here, which is kind of a staple card. A Royal Librarian is gonna help you big time against all of those blobs. Grifta is also in here, with which again you could be countering blobs, stealing their minion and killing it into something of theirs could be helpful for you, but the rest is straightforward. So again, check out my detailed guide from before. I'm also going to be giving you an updated guide for this thing really soon. Here's the matchups. You're 50-50 against Demon Hunter, but Corpse Death Knight might be a little bit too strong for you. The rest looks pretty doable. When you're going first and second for that matter, you're basically going to try to curve off good with your dragons, with your Dark Rider, with the Stone Carver. The Brute Keeper is okay. Sanguine Depths, pretty alright. Depression Slitter Drake, that kind of stuff. And like I said, same goes when going second, so mulligan accordingly. As for other good warrior decks, well, it's either basically Dragon Warrior or Control Warrior. With Dragon Warrior, you could be deciding to go for the fast or for the slower Elise variant. Can't go wrong with either of them, honestly. And same can be said for Quest Warrior. You could be going for the Turbo Draw variant or for the regular variant, both of which are still doing mighty strong. And the last deck on the list is still going to be Mid-Range Shaman, which really hasn't gone anywhere. People are just kind of bored with it. And people have kind of figured out kind of how to play better against it. But for the most part, if this deck curves out, there's not very many things the opponent can do. This version is still pretty straightforward. We do have ourselves a good amount of big spells like Wish Upon a Star, Furious Fel, and Frosty the Core. We also have Shudder Blocking here, which is going to help you in all sorts of different ways. And you're still going to be able to do very big Bumbling Bellhops a lot sooner than you're supposed to, with the help of Elise. You can get basically whatever you need. You could be getting a 5/5 copy, a bunch of rushers, extra attack, you name it, she has it. Kagita's gonna help you fish out the big spells. Muradin can be quite menacing as well, and the weapon that comes out of him is a lot of extra phase damage for you too. And when push comes to shove, you also have Alakir at the end, with which you can be doing OTKs, including with 10 mana Elise locations if the matchup warrants it. I do have a video about this deck from a while back, but people literally didn't watch that at all because the deck is just so played out at this point. But if you still don't know what you should be doing with this one, check out my detailed video about it. It's maybe a month old now, but it still holds true. Matchup wise, here's what we have. Demon Hunter's not your best friend, but nothing too polarizing. Corpse Death Knight kind of same deal. Some of the Pallies are not going to be too amazing for you, some of the mages as well, but the rest is kind of fine. Kind of weird that this deck still holds pretty strong results, even though some of the most popular matchups are actually negative for you, but those are the stats. When you're going first, you are going to want to hold on to your Birdwatching, Turbulus, Hagata. The location's great. Flight of the Firehawk, Murloc Growfen for turn 1 also ain't bad, Elise the Navigator, but usually that's about it. On the coin, again, try to get the cheaper stuff and you should be good. For other good Shaman decks, there really isn't anything else to talk about. This is the one I'm showing you. Pretty decent results, big sample size, so why wouldn't we? I have been seeing some Asteroid Shamans and whatnot going around, but all around it's kind of whatever. For the classes we haven't mentioned, starting off with Druid, we can see that Ashara Druid is still actually looking hella strong with the Aulonius variant. There's also a Taunt Druid with Aviana, but it's really not doing that hot, and the Space Druid I showed you apparently is not that good. This is not exactly the Space Druid I showed you, by the way, it's kind of different. It definitely felt like it had some potential, but maybe not so much. For Hunter, Discover Hunter is still pretty top tier, especially if you're skilled with it, and Face Hunter is still looking okay, but the rest not so hot, even though Quest Hunter is also okay if you ask me. With Mage, honestly, I could have included Arcwing Mage in here, but the stats really are not better than the Shaman list. Here's the one I could have included, this one as well. They are kind of close to be fair, but this one is kind of weird, guys, with Skyla and whatnot. With the Watercolor Artist, the Weapon, and you're also getting a couple of Petty Thieves, which are kind of okay. It does seem like the deck has some promise, but you be the judge. Maybe I should have included this into the top 5 after all, because it kind of has the same win rate as the mid-range Shaman. The sample size is half of it, but it is new and fresh and kind of skill testing. There's all sorts of different iterations of Arcwing Mage right now, so you decide which one you like best. I will be giving you an updated guide about one really soon, so be on the lookout for that. We also have Protoss Mage apparently not doing well at all, like I did not expect to see it fall this hard. That's kind of interesting. Quest Mage has been seeing a rise in popularity, but the power for it is not that high, at least not for most. I see a lot of top Legend players play very well with it though. Elemental Mage is barely above 51%, Imbue Mage is trying to be close to 50%, but it's failing miserably so far, and that's about it for the Mage class. For Priest, we have things like Protoss Priest still laying around pretty decently well. Control Priest apparently is playable, not exactly, but it's trying. And Zarimi Priest is also nothing to write home about, honestly. Rogue has definitely fallen off hard from the win rate at least. I still see people do pretty well with it in top Legend, however, so it is very skill testing, but Imbue Rogue can be great for you. Thief Rogue is also fine. Templar Rogue also, I do believe, is a lot stronger than these stats show. Quasar Rogue apparently is also playable, but very hard, and a lot of people are botching it, and same can be said for Cycle Rogue. And last but not least, we also have Warlock, and look at this nonsense, guys. What is this outlier here with 60% win rate and 200 games? Kinda crazy what a big difference this deck has from the rest. It does have some interesting card inclusions like Acolyte of Infinity, but all around it's still just Demon Warlock, so I wouldn't be expecting these stats to be holding true. We can see Egg Warlock is still kind of playable. Here's the Wallow Warlock that just broke 50%, which is kind of okay, but the rest are really not worth talking about much. So yeah guys, that's about it for these decks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like and subscribe would be great. And don't forget you can support the channel for free by downloading raids from my premium download link and starting raid the right way with tons of amazing champions. Thanks for watching guys, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.